Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to be looking at one of the absolute most fascinating geographical puzzles on the planet. You know, if you just spin a globe, your eyes naturally trace these massive land masses of Europe and Africa. Geographically speaking, they are practically neighbors, leaning over the exact same fence. And yet, there is absolutely zero physical, man-made connection between them. No road, no railway, nothing. So we're going to unpack exactly why human ambition hasn't conquered this tiny gap, and how it really all comes down to a massive clash with the raw power of Mother Nature.
Okay, let's dive into this. Our main focus here is the Strait of Gibraltar. That's that incredibly vital waterway separating the southern tip of Spain from the northern coast of Morocco. It's the only natural link between the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. For literally centuries, this specific gap has been a massive crossroads of civilization, trade, and culture. It is the gateway between Europe and Africa, historically traversed by just countless ships and ferries. So you really gotta wonder, why on earth is there no bridge between Europe and Africa? I mean, we live in an era where we're planning missions to Mars, right? We're building skyscrapers that literally pierce the clouds. So why haven't we managed to lay down some concrete and steel across this specific stretch of water?
And here is the number that makes this whole situation just completely mind-boggling. 14. The distance between Spain and Morocco at its narrowest point in the Strait of Gibraltar is only 14 kilometers. I really want you to just sit with that for a second. 14 kilometers. There are people who run that distance on a Sunday morning just for fun, you know? On a clear day, if you're standing on the coast of Spain, you can literally see the mountains of Morocco right across the water. It almost looks swimmable. This incredibly short distance is exactly what sets up our central paradox today. Because if it's only 14 kilometers, what exactly is stopping us?
Well, we can completely shatter the idea that 14 kilometers is just too far for us to build. Just think about the comparisons out there. Humanity is more than capable of extreme engineering. Take the Channel Tunnel connecting the UK and France, for example. That's a massive undersea tunnel running for 50 kilometers. That's more than 3 times the distance we're talking about here. Or consider China, which boasts the world's longest bridge, an absolute marvel of engineering, stretching an unbelievable 165 kilometers. So when you put our little 14-kilometer gap next to a 50-kilometer tunnel and a 165-kilometer bridge, it becomes undeniably clear. Distance is absolutely not the issue here. A mere 14 kilometers shouldn't even make modern engineers break a sweat.
So to solve this mystery, we actually have to change our perspective. Looking at a flat, two-dimensional map, yeah, that's completely deceiving us. To understand the real barrier here, we have to stop looking across the water, and we actually have to start looking down.
The absolutely crucial difference here is depth. Let's bring back that Channel Tunnel comparison for a second. It's a total engineering triumph, right? But it only runs about 75 meters below sea level. Now, brace yourself for the Strait of Gibraltar. The water there plunges to depths reaching up to 900 meters. 900 meters! If you wanted to build a traditional bridge, the support pillars would have to be taller than the world's tallest skyscrapers just to break the surface of the water. That's insane. And a tunnel? Well, that would require an impractically steep descent to get cars and trains 900 meters underground, only to force them to climb right back up over a super short 14-kilometer stretch.
But guess what? Mother Nature wasn't finished. It's basically a perfect storm of environmental hazards down there. First off, you have these vicious underwater currents constantly churning through the strait as the Atlantic Ocean forcefully meets the Mediterranean. It's chaotic. Second, the seabed isn't some soft, forgiving chalk like they had in the English Channel. Oh no, it's composed of stubbornly hard rock, which makes drilling painfully slow. And the ultimate deal breaker, it's a highly active earthquake zone. Just imagine trying to secure a 900-meter tall underwater pillar while the Earth is literally actively trying to shake it apart. It's almost as if the geology here was specifically designed to just mock structural engineers.
Now, Spain and Morocco have actually had joint committees studying a fixed link since way back in 1979. They've proposed the whole shebang, everything from floating tunnels tethered to the seabed to these massive artificial islands. But every single time, they hit the exact same wall. The custom engineering, the hazard mitigation, and the highly specialized materials required to fight that depth, those currents, the hard rock, and the earthquakes. It pushes the price tag to absolute astronomical heights. The final verdict? It is simply economically unfeasible. The multi-billion-dollar cost completely dwarfs any potential economic benefit of the connection.
We really do live in an age where technology seems limitless, but this tiny 14-kilometer gap is a super humbling reminder that our resources are not. Sometimes the environment presents a fortress that's just so well defended by depth, rock, currents, and seismic power that nature essentially sets a toll booth price that's way too high for humanity to pay. So, it leaves us with a pretty fascinating question. As our technology continues to advance in the coming decades, will this gap always remain economically unfeasible? Or is human engineering simply biding its time until it can finally afford to conquer nature's ultimate boundary? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.